recording and okay, I've got it. Okay. Thank you, honey. Okay. Good morning. This is the Differently Abled Network meeting. This is sponsored by Ask Dr. Applewhite Educational Programs and a host of other people, but most especially, we have today our major sponsor, our first sponsor for the Differently Abled Network, a program of whiteappleinsitute.org, is the Interfaith Community Spiritual Center. And a lot of them are online today, and we're so happy to have this participation and to make sure that maybe one or two of them will help me to get this thing out on YouTube so that I can that we can make sure that we get our message out, a very clear message about our feelings about our topic today. Okay. One of the things we do with the Differently Abled Network meeting is that we meet once a month, and we hope that there'll be a time soon that we will all meet. We will meet more frequently during the month, maybe once a week. That's our future vision. And certainly that we go out nationwide with our outreach programs. And those programs include that we go to community outreach, community centers, veteran agencies, faith-based organizations, and a host of nonprofits. And we say to them, basically, we know that you're service providers, and we'd like to know, do you have anybody that needs services, that is trying to go to school, work, improve their lives as in a productive way? We'd like to help them. And so we look for those referrals from different agencies and communities, and then we work with those individuals to help them. Sometimes it's just as simple as putting their transcripts together. Sometimes it requires that our mentors work concurrently with psychiatric community, psychological community, and we get people, hopefully, I don't like to say back on their feet, but on their feet. Because sometimes back on the feet is not where people need to be. I don't know if you agree with that, but that means we're going backwards and we want to move forward. Okay, so let's talk about getting people back on their feet today, and that even kind of like comes into play with our topic today. Does God hate people with disabilities? One of the things that I hope that happens, and this is my expectation, it's personal, is that we leave today with a message to everyone about whatever they call God. And we have one of the most fantastic people on our program today, Reverend Julianne Lewis, who is the founder director and the pastor for the Interfaith Community Spiritual Center. So I hope that she'll be able to broaden our horizons. We have also Cindy Green, who will be sharing with us about how she's working out the questions, or how she has worked out the questions with her child who has been a dependent adult. And we have many people who are dependent adults. What does that mean? It means opposite than independent. That's all. Okay. Sometimes we wrap words around and make it too serious. But you know what? The interdependent is the word I like. And I think Cindy likes that too. The interdependent. You know what I mean? That he helps you too. And I know you're going to talk a lot about that so that we can encourage more mothers to help their children, girls, boy. We had someone scheduled to come on today that was going to talk about her transgender grandson, and who had just made a decision, and how she feels about that. But I think Julianne will agree with me, Reverend Jay, that should be a show in itself, okay? Because that's going to include a lot of political issues. So we need to have some people on both sides of the fence to explain what they're doing. But anyway, I hope that I told you a little bit about what the Differently Abled Network does. It's just outreach, basically outreach and bringing people from agencies, helping them be productive, okay? So would you help us do that by your donation to whiteappleinsitute.org? That would really help us out. And we also need volunteers and student interns, okay? So let's get started on our topic today. I want to tell you, I'm just very, very pleased. We have another show that was done some time ago. It was about 2018, I believe. And we had a show with Cindy Green in the show at that time. Um, we were just starting off and we sat around in a circle at Interfaith when we were in a physical location before the pandemic. And she said some fantastic things. And what I was trying to do today is to get a little clip of that tape. But I'll tell you what, let me just say this. She encouraged me to open up, and I think I said that somewhere on our video program. She encouraged me to open up more to the fact that there are more interdependent relationships going on out there, especially when people have mental or learning, and I'll say dis in their abilities, because I believe that ability should always come first. Okay, the dis is however we interpret or perceive what the dis in our ability is all about. So let's get started and ask Cindy some questions. But before I do, I don't want to forget.
Here?
Hello there, Chaplain Magno.
Hello, Danita Applewhite.
Yeah.
I'll step away for a minute. I'm live on TV.
Oh, there you go. Chaplain Mango, as soon as you, Magno, I always get that wrong. I even called you Mango at one time. That was terrible, okay? All right. But we welcome you, Chaplain Magno, and
Hello.
we're just acknowledging Reverend Julianne Lewis is on also, and I'm hoping that both of you will give a great perspective on this topic of why do we think that God hates people with disabilities. So as we're beginning right now, I'd like to know if anybody has any questions up front that we'd like to explore on the subject. So should we just get started, Cindy? Can I just ask you a question? Tell us a little bit if your son, I don't, of course, I don't need you to disclose anything that's personal, makes you feel uncomfortable. So if I ask you a question that does that, and or anyone else, please just let us know. That's one I don't want to answer at this point. But I'd like to know how this life of yours started with your child. How long has it been, that you've been dealing with this, and what do you deal with?
Well, he's 45 years old now. So this started a long time ago.
I would say that.
However, in the past 5 years since we were on your show, he has become dependent, more independent. He has moved in with his new partner, and they're doing great. And he's working now. And so,
could this be a change in your attitude too that has encouraged this?
Well, he was having some problems, and I helped him, to get through some things. He was, yeah. And when he found her on Facebook, so they were from high school together. Mm-hmm. So they got back together again. So I encourage him as much as I can.
Let me explain what I mean when I say that. It's like sometimes, and I might have mentioned this to you, that I had a mother and son relationship where the mother called me and she was very, very upset with me because she said, why are you canceling my son's sessions? I do life mentoring sessions, as you know. And I said, well, until you stop giving him the plate, okay, I can't do anything. And she's like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? Well, when we keep feeding him every day, and we allow the roof to be on the over and everything provided for an individual, the only thing they have to really do is maybe 20 minutes of, and I'll just say it right the way it is, bitching and complaining. Okay? Maybe an hour of bitching and complaining, okay? But if you think about it for a minute, that's not so bad. Okay, now it would be, for my personality, it wouldn't work. For yours, it wouldn't work, for most of us. But for some people, okay, who get into the, it's a relaxed mode, And it's difficult for the parent to move into a role of saying, no, you're adult and I'm adult. Even if you have a dis in your ability for your brain to work this way, but hey, excuse me, it works this way. So let's figure out what we can do instead of always focusing on what we can't do. And I see that in you. Now, I don't know, I don't have a camera in your house yet. I have one in Lori's, but but I'm saying, you know, like, has some of the things that we talked about made kind of an impact on you?
Yes, and the hardest part is letting that go, you know, because you want to protect them, you want to do everything for them. Even when he's in California now, I you know, of course I worry about him, but I know that he's doing well, and we check in a lot with each other. My son, my younger son lives here in Mesa, and he's very independent, and he's always been, and that's kind of, you know, I still want to kind of, you know, snuggle with him too, but I know that he's okay and I don't have to worry about him. So you know, I encourage, he came over last night and helped out around the house. So he's very independent, and it's really good. I like it.
And I still hear, and this is a very important word. I still hear INTER, interdependent, which means that there's a little bit of him that he gives you, that snuggle that you're talking about.
Right.
And on the other end, you know, you're helping, you're still helping him, even if it's just emotionally, to stay straight, to know that I believe in you. I believe in you, that you can stand on your own to the best of your ability, with accommodations. Okay,
Right.
Sometimes the accommodations, this is really, really interesting for people to understand. Sometimes the accommodation is just a support system that we provide for them, right, Cindy? That we provide for them with the Differently Abled Network. You were a big supporter of our initial focus group in 2017, you know, and how that came about. So just something else, so that it'll help some of the mothers out there, especially those that are in a position where, good grief, it's just hard to say, where they may institutionalize their son or daughter because someone has told them that's the best thing to do for them, is get them out of your life. They can't do this, they can't do that, and always focusing on that, you know. And so maybe there's something that you can say. First, tell us a little bit, if you can, if you feel like divulging a little bit about the disability in itself, that's okay. Whatever makes you feel comfortable.
Well, he had problems at school. It was behavioral.
Okay.
And from before I even had kids, I had always believed in as much natural support and like nutritional and all that kind of stuff. So I was no drugs or that kind of thing. He did have to go into a special day class at one point because he acted out in the regular school. So they put him into a special day class, but that was not good because he saw behaviors that he hadn't even thought of yet with the other children.
Yes.
You know,
the modeling. Yes.
So it was really difficult for me. And we finally got him out again, mainstreamed into natural normals, regular whatever school, mainstream school. And you know, it took some time. I'm a single mother, and we lived with my mother, and she was supportive of us. So she probably would have liked more medical intervention because, you know, she was the grandmother, but
what so we kind of with the medical, when you say medical intervention, are you talking about, you know, possibly there's a few diagnoses that people need to look at, and it's one of them is the latest one that's been out there now is oppositional defiance disorder, which is just unbelievable to me. I don't know any teenager. I definitely had oppositional defiance disorder, and I do on some things now, Reverend Jay. So, you know, let's talk about how the school, the educational system looked at him, and then if you could also give us the other side of how you think he looked at after that, spent that day in special ed, we call it, how that made him feel. So what was the school's perspective on him? Like, get him out of here or whatever, or was it, we'll help him, or?
Yeah, well, and this was like 35 years ago, so
Yes.
things have changed.
Yes.
And he was just he was in grade school, yeah. Yeah, well, he did cause a big disruption in the mainstream class. And so they had to get him out, and they physically removed him, you know, as he was tantruming, you know.
Right.
So then the psychiatrist came in, or the psychologist, school psychologist came in, and, you know, he had the IEPs and all that stuff. And I had to go there every, however many, you know, it seemed like it seemed like I was, when he was in the daycare school, whatever it was, I felt like I was a part of the staff because I was there so much.
Oh, wow.
However, it didn't, you know, my suggestions would start out okay, but then they would kind of lax on them because I had good ideas too, and that were helpful for him. But in the long run, what happened was their suggestions were not working for us and our family. And
what were some of their suggestions? Medication?
Well, they hadn't gone that far.
Oh, okay.
They wanted to, you know, that was something that was floating around, and, you know, my mother kind of, but they wanted to, they wanted us to restrain him, you know, sit on him, lay on him whenever he had a tantrum. And that wasn't working. And eventually what happened was, at the school, the vice principal, I guess it was, restrained him, and he got red burns on his body from being on the floor. And it was, you know, it was just as bad as, you know, it was abuse. And
yes, it was.
The social worker told me I shouldn't have the next day I sent him back to school because I was afraid, I didn't know what to do, right? And she said, well, maybe you shouldn't have sent him back to school. So we got him out, and I don't know what they did with the.
What did you do then, honey? What did you do then? Homeschool?
No, he went into a regular mainstream school.
Okay.
I wanted to homeschool him, but my mother did not want that.
Okay.
So,
okay.
You know, I'm under her roof, under her rules.
Yes. Yes.
So, yeah, and actually he went through most of high school, and then the last 3 weeks or so before maybe a couple months before, he dropped out. And now, though, he has gone back and gotten his high school diploma.
Wow. Did he do that online? Did he do that online?
I think they had I'm not sure. It was in California.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That's fantastic.
Because I would take him to school, walk him into his classroom, and then, you know, 2 minutes later, he's out. He's split. And I would take him to get a GED. And no, it didn't work. So he just was, you know, you lead a horse to water, you know. So he finally, you know, it took him long enough. He finally figured it out. I guess his partner probably very encouraged him.
Let's take it to the other side now. Okay, if we can open up for some questions from people here on our audience, because we have a few more people that have joined us. So how do you think, because you're going to think of how he felt, okay? Because that's what I'm trying to get at, is telling people the impact of what we do with our children, okay, is going to stop the growth, the intellectual and the spiritual growth. And I don't know if I lost Reverend Julianne or not. I hope I didn't, because I'm going to ask her to come with comment. I might have lost her. Okay. But anyway, we have Chaplain Magno that will come on with some of his ideas also. But here's what I'm trying to get at is how you think your child felt and how you had to deal, because I've heard so many stories from my adults. You know, I work with adults, and the issue is that they go back into their past, into parents who have been, you ever heard that term, helicopter parents? I think we talked about that once, you know, and you know, and the single parent, okay, which is one I had to watch out for, being a single parent of a young man, and you know, and how we have to pull all that together and be there for them when they have those days. Maybe they say, you know, why did God make me this way? Because I've heard that's, you know, I taught psychology for years. What do you say? What do you mothers say?
I think he thought it was that I was trying to, that it was my doing of making him go into that other school and that kind of thing.
So do you think he thought it was your fault that he had behavioral problems, or that they were always pulling him into the principal's office? You know, it's your fault, Mom, or it's Dad's fault, or it's the world, or, you know what I mean? There's so many different things that happen.
I think kind of, you know, there was a bad home situation with my husband, my second husband at the time. It was his stepfather. So he just wasn't happy to begin with. And then it didn't help that he was a little bit differently abled.
Right.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. That's right.
Because he just didn't fit in. Some of his grades were way higher than where he was. Mm-hmm. So it was frustrating for him to have to sit through, you know, a class that it's way under his level. So.
Wow. Yeah, a lot of people don't understand that most behavioral disorders, at least in my experience and some of the research that I've seen out there, is that when you go into the ghetto, so to speak, the barrios or whatever, and you pull out 17, 18-year-olds that have dropped out of school for maybe 3 or 4 years, okay, smart as a whip, okay. I mean, they can read off any basketball scores or football. They can do all of that. So there's nothing wrong with their cognitive ability to pull it together, but the behavior is an issue. And the behavior is many times influenced by the environment, right? And so it's like a catch-22, a recycle. And so, and especially if you're coming home and there's domestic situations that you have to deal with. So I guess that's another thing I want to get to, is that when we look at, and I want to make sure we don't run out of time here, when we look at all of the issues of why someone's behavioral disorder at 5 or 6 years old turns into this big whopping issue, okay, as they're older, and then at 18, 19 years old, they're still not able to go out and support themselves. Now, why is that? Why was your son, did your son go out and support himself at any time?
Yeah, so he did decide when he was like 15, he wanted to be homeless and live under a bridge. He did that right. He just decided to go do that.
He did. He managed
he
to do that.
He physically did that. And right. He was drinking and he was using drugs and finding, he did find some mentors, elder, like there would be an older man that he looked up to that would he could talk to and that kind of thing, but they were, out there in the gutter.
Yeah.
But
sometimes they have great stories. I'll tell you that. Okay.
So he came back, eventually, but
that must have been hell for you.
Well, my mother kept saying, go look for him, go look for him. I was like, I can't just go look for him,
You
right?
didn't know, you had no idea where he was.
I'm going just go drive around town.
When I heard that, I don't know, Lori, if you felt the same way. I kind of like envisioned in my mind the kid with the stick and the little bag on the back of his back, and he's stomping his feet like, I'm going to catch a train and join the circus. You know what I mean? And I think that when you look at even what I was talking about earlier, the oppositional defiance disorder, we can see that, I'm going to run away thing many times. Angelica, I don't think Angelica's ever experienced running away. I don't think so. But Angelica, do you know any friends that have done that though? How about that?
No.
Yeah.
Only because, well, in a way, kind of, because the house that they were living in, they were renting it and they no longer could stay there, so they had to go with a friend. But it wasn't that they were choosing to run away, it was because,
Yeah.
But there's been instances where people don't like where they live, but they can't leave because that's not really an option, So, but otherwise, no, I haven't.
But and well, you caught it right there. You answered the question really great, because they might think it in their heads, but they don't actually do the action. But usually that thinking in the head is there, the thought is there. And that's why we want to make sure that the thoughts that they have, even especially today, running away is not a very safe option at all at a very young age. And so it's a different time that Cindy was talking about too. But even now, and I just want to open up your minds, all of you, that even now we have parents today who are still considering institutionalization of their children. We are also in an age where the taboos against having children with any type of deformity are usually ostracized from the community, in addition to many of them being sacrificed, and sacrificed to death, because that is a religious ritual to cleanse, so-called cleanse the body, cleanse the family, that brought this evilness in. And especially with mental health is still a very, very big issue. And it's one of the major disability issues, if you will, that we work with. And so, Tony, you have something to add to that? I heard
I've been listening.
Yes.
The connection's been off and on, but what I could gather, there's been a long journey for this mother.
Yes.
And I'm just going to say the thing that really impressed upon me is what prevailed, what came forth victorious was her love for her son. And I think love conquers a multitude of obstacles. You don't really know how to love, when to love, or how do you love? You just love and do what you love, and you do what the hand finds to do. If it's being back in this school, that school, wherever her son was, somehow, some way, she had enough of that eminence of love that her son received it and felt it and was able to get to where he is today, i.e. he went back to high school, by God, and he got his diploma, and that was a help from his partner, mom, from the foundational times. Mom was always there, and that did something. So I don't want mother there to beat herself up. I should have done, I could have done, I would have done. No, you did it. Okay. And kudos to you. That's what I want to say, because you showed the love, and the love prevailed, and it shows where he is today. That is a fact. So if you ever get those beaten up of your own self in your mind of I shoulda, coulda, woulda, just remember he's here. Love prevailed. Thank God for the love be able to show enough through me to touch him and give him a foundation to get where he wants. And that's what's going to be the victory. That's what's going to be our answer, is the love.
Love.
Amen.
And Chaplain, this is the problem that we have in the differently abled network. And I'm not even going to call it a problem. It's what we invite as the issues. Is we invite the parents where they say they love the child, and that's why they're giving the child away. Okay.
Mm.
See, so love on that angle, it changes, doesn't it? Okay. When we say we love the child, there are many mothers that smother their children, especially women have been known for that. Um, uh, as especially a special education child is usually put in that position. When you say love, and I can see where you're talking about, because, and not only because I've spoken to Cindy in the past about this, but what she's saying today is that her love was that. Her love was helping her son to be as dependent as he could. And
Yes.
that's the kind of love that we want to promote in the Differently Abled Network. And if you like, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you're hearing today about the Differently Abled Network, we call the DAN, okay, just go to whiteappleinstitute.org. Whiteappleinstitute.org is the nonprofit 501c3. This is a program of White Apple Institute. And so your donation is tax deductible. We still need a lot of volunteers to help us, especially with technical issues and a lot of other stuff. So make sure you give us a call if you'd like at 888-56-APPLE. That's 888. What is it, guys? 888-56-APPLE. Okay, and that number is actually 888-562-7753. Okay, and you'll see that on your screen soon as we put that together and publish on YouTube. Well, we're coming towards where we want to talk a little bit about the art and music that may have been something that you included with your child. And I would like to know, because you're a drummer, Cindy Green is a drummer, not just a drummer. I mean, I would call myself a drummer. Okay, I just drum, you know, and I have drummed with her, and oh boy, has it been fantastic. And well, Cindy, have you ever drummed with your son, and does that help with synchronizing some vibrations, or tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I didn't have a lot of it when he was really small.
Okay.
I've only been doing that for about 26 years now. So he was, but we have made a drum together.
Wow, that's right. You do drum making too. That's right. Wow.
And he was writing rap songs, and doing that sort of thing. But yeah, we've always sing, and I did play a little bit of guitar, you know. So, and he's an artist too. He would draw when he was real small. When we couldn't afford to get drawing paper, we would get grocery bags, the paper bags from the grocery store, and just say, draw, because he is an excellent artist. The pencil,
right?
Yes, wow. Amazing.
So wow, what a great message to give a parent out there that's like frustrated so much about the behavior of their daughter or their son, and that hopefully if you're hearing these words and it helps you even just a little bit, that you consider the fact that, hey, I want to try to help my son. Okay, I don't mean to bring this up, but this is so important, ladies and gentlemen, friends, my friends, listen. There was an incident not too long ago, and this is not uncommon, but it's not like every day, but it's there. But this young man was only 13, I believe, and his mother was trying so hard to help him with his behavioral disorders, as they call them in the school. And unfortunately, one day, I guess maybe she was a little too harsh with him, and he decided at that point that he was going to go get a gun, and he totally destroyed the house, and he shot his mother several times. Now, you know, when you think about the behavioral incidents, and the many parents that are out there now that are trying so hard to get mental health support for their children, sons and daughters. And I have to give a little bit more to sons because of the strength of sons. with their mothers as they're growing older, they can be very overpowering. Okay. And so I've had so many women talk to me about the fact that they could not get help for their son. And that is why they've had to put them into an institutional setting. I had one mother just recently who told me she definitely left her son on the steps. Okay. She would not take him back. This is not uncommon. Okay. But maybe if we all work together, because I have a lot of different agencies and some resources, and we're trying to build this network so that we can all support each other in all kinds of different ways, not just economically. We want to listen to everybody's story, okay? But we also want to listen to the story and come up with solutions, okay? Lori, you have anything you want to add to that?
Did you talk to me?
No, I was talking about Lori.
Lori, okay, go ahead.
Yes. I know she had some, I know there's so much here, so much. And yeah.
Specifically, I don't know what came up for me earlier when I was listening is the effect that music has had and the arts have had on both my son, who dealt with really severe depression and drug issues, and getting him involved in music made a big difference. And I mean, there were a lot of things that made a difference, but one of them was music and finding his talent and his gift. And he has really put his life together after a childhood and teen years. I didn't think he'd pass 20. And now he seems to be well. So just allowing him, to play his guitar incredibly loud in the house and play the music he loved that I hated and all of that, but just encouraging that, because for me, I wanted to say earlier when you were talking about, you asked me about getting up in the morning, and I had a morning about 4 days ago where I could not get out of bed. It was like I had 5 of the weighted blankets on me.
Wow.
And I was so depressed, and I was so in so much pain. And I laid there for hours, hadn't slept, laid there for hours. Finally, it came into my mind. I was just laying there obsessing about the pain and obsessing about the depression. And it was just getting bigger and bigger, and the blankets were piling higher and higher. So the only thing I could think to do is I rolled over and I said, Alexa, play Daniel Namad, who's an incredible singer-songwriter, positive music. And his music came on, and I just started. It was literally the only thing I could do for myself in that moment was just to say those words and get that music going.
That's it. That's the key. That's the key. And that's what Chaplain Magno is going to bring out for us. Chaplain Magno is with the American Legion. Okay, quite a beautiful veteran that I met as my driver. Okay, you talk about a beautiful man, a beautiful heart. He and his wife have been very supportive of what we're doing here. He's the co-producer for our arts and musician, our differently abled artists and musicians. And I hope, Lori, that you'll give us work with Chaplain Magno on something that you can do for us in the future. I really would appreciate that, because what we're trying to do is this is not about being on stage and showing your talent. We're not entertainers here, but what we are is trying to show the importance, because this is what I actually use when you read my upcoming book, and it will be out soon, thank you, which is why I cannot quit this mission, is that I talk a lot about how we have to look for ways to overcome the pain, to be more in control. Remember I said earlier of not letting the pain get to our brain. Okay, that's so important. And so we use art and music, okay, to sometimes ease us. So Chaplain Magno was driving me one day, and we were talking about disability, and he was like totally emphatic that disability is not, I mean, diabetes can't be a disability. you know, I mean, because he's walking and he's talking and he's doing everything. And he'll tell you about this. So I'm not divulging his disability. We've talked openly about it. And so when he finally realized what the dis is and the ability to have the glucose and the insulin in your body, that's what the dis in the ability is that you cannot produce. And so what do you need? You need an accommodation. And the accommodation is what? What's the accommodation to make it what? Go ahead, sir.
Medicine.
That's right.
Insulin. Insulin.
There you go.
Pills.
Chaplain Magnum, it's 12:45, sir. And I just want to bring you on, and I want to, but I've got to hold off for just a second, because I know you're going to blow us away. And I hope that Angelica has been able to find Everyday People on YouTube. And because we want to play Everyday People today, because it's real important to what Chaplain Mango is going to say. But we have somebody also, a very special lady online today, Rosalind Garden. And I just have to tell you, excuse me, I just have to tell you that Rosalind Garden is Gordon, I'm sorry, is helping a lot in the community with our veteran population, but she welcomes everybody into what we call cooling centers, okay? And I'm sure she's back at that again, because last year she ran a cooling center through one of the churches. And we certainly would like to hear from you. Give us an update on what's happening, dear sister. Much love and peace to you, Rosalind Gordon. Are you there, honey? Give her a few seconds here. Okay, well, maybe we can put her on towards the end, Tony. We can come back to her. Okay.
Okay, wonderful.
Okay.
I just want to say there was a little mix up in communication. The song I'm going to play is oh gosh, now my mind is gone. We Are the World. We Are the World, not Everyday
We Are the World. I'm sorry. We Are the World.
Because that's what I worked on.
And, that's right. Yes, sir.
I could fake the other because I'm a jazz trumpet player and close enough for jazz, as they say. But yeah, I was going to do We Are the World, and just a couple of stories. And it's going to be a lot of extra little notes and things like that. It's going to be a rendition. I don't have the 50 people singing on that video. I just got me, myself, and I, and the Lord. Yes. And a lot of hot air, and I give that to God, and He does the rest. So anyway, we are everyday people. We are living everyday lives. We go through the triumphs. We go through the seemingly defeats that will ultimately come our triumphs. If we attack our fears and weak areas, they become our strengths and our most courageous support. So everyday people is one thing, but I like we are the people of this world. So if you want me to go ahead and play now, I'd be more than happy to play that right now.
What I would like to do, if you don't mind, for a moment, is to Angelica, I do have that up if you'd like to look at. I guess I have to save this in Google Drive. And did you want me, or you want me just to become host again, and I can play it and share screen?
Yes, I can give you the host again.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead and do that, because I do have it up. Okay. All right. So anyway, here's what I'd like to do in wrapping things up here is to say this student. Oh, boy, I'm sorry. That would be something I would do. Hold on a minute. Okay. I don't know where I'm getting this from. There comes a time when we need. One moment, Tony. I'm trying to.
I'll find it.
Okay. What I wanted to do is to have you discuss kind of as a wrap up. We know that there's a Christian perspective to all of this, okay? Especially with the young man who brought up the question. does God hate people with disabilities? And I want to just bring a close to that. There are many people who think that, and we have right now a suicide. Can you hear me very well?
Loud and clear.
Not loud and clear. Okay. We have a suicide rate that is tremendous, as you know. And one of the things that we feel that we can address, if possible, is to bring hope to people, you know, as we meet for this differently able network, that we bring hope to people, and that they feel a sense of, hey, you know, these are some good people, and let me get in touch with them and see, you know, how they can help me. So we really encourage, especially those who are interested in becoming our community business partners, to get involved with us so that we can help more people not to have suicidal thoughts, because they are always comparing themselves to those in society that they think are doing so well. I mean, you might not be aware, but there's a whole issue with many people with disabilities about, is my camera on, by the way?
I see you.
Oh, is my camera on?
Yes, it
Okay.
is.
It is. Okay. Thank you. There are people dying. Yes, right. There are people dying. That's what I want to talk about. There's 30 plus veterans and college students, okay, included in that number, that are dying every day across our nation. Now, why is that in the greatest country, and we have all this money and we have all these things going for us? Why do celebrities have suicidal ideation, suicidal thoughts, and they supposedly have everything, okay? And so we know that it's a sense of hopelessness and a sense of loneliness, and that's an internal and psychological issue, and it's very, very inside stuff, okay, of why people have these suicidal ideas. You can love them forever, love them so much, but it's not about you loving them. It's about them believing that you love them and believing that you can actually help them have hope again. So the only thing that we can do is to do our best through this differently abled network, is to bring hope into communities and help people know that God, by whatever name you call, Christian, Jewish, Islam, by whatever name you call, and that's why I'm so proud of Interfaith being here today, that you're welcome here. And we want to help you build hope, restore your hope. I know the pandemics, and I say pandemics plural, because it's true, there are much more than one, and question me on that later. Ask Dr. Applewhite, okay? And wars. Amen. And depression, economically, losing jobs, and don't even get me started on the evictions in the street of many of our students, veterans, hard workers that are sleeping in their car with their children. So when we talk about does God hate people with disabilities? This question came from a young man who, number one, was born with a learning disability, and his child has leukemia. And he's going through help, okay? And he's going through the agencies. We finally got him some help. But I mean, the point is that he went through so much, most people would have given up, Tony, Chaplain Mango. And so we have words for them, words for people that may not be religious, but definitely spiritual. Would you agree, Cindy? Yeah. You have anything you want to close up with, Cindy, before we give this back to Chaplain Mango?
I'm on my iPad now, so it's a little different. I think a lot of this has to do with emotions, not being able to express emotions in our society.
Yes, yes.
You're not allowed, you can't cry in front of people, or you can't grieve. And I think that's a big thing.
Well, here at the Differently Able Network, we welcome people to tell their stories. And if there are tears, there's tears. And we work through them. And we don't just want to hear your story. We want you to ask us for what you need to succeed. Okay? Now, let's not get silly. We're not talking about you can come into the Differently Able Network and say, give me $500. Okay, no. But if you're a student, we're going to verify you. We're going to see your transcripts. We're going to talk to you, maybe get a recommendation letter. Okay, if you're an employee that is having problems with your employer because you need accommodations to work, then we'll help you with advocacy. We'll connect you to those resources and make sure that it works for you. Okay. And if we can't find a way for you to get to from one place to another, we're going to make sure that we work together and we get you there and we get you home. So those are the kinds of things that we do. So hang in there and join us at the Differently Abled Network and call us at 888-56-APPLE. Okay. Thank you so much, Cindy Green, for your interview today. And I know that some
Thank you.
pieces of that.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah. It wasn't so
Your heart,
easy.
opening your heart to us.
Yeah.
It touched me, you know.
It did.
And to see the victory at the end, that should give
Yeah.
a lot of us listening today hope. Whatever the distraction of life may be, whatever the obstacles may be, that is just a microcosm, a metaphor of what we can take. Here is somebody, a victory story that we can take with us each and every day in our everyday lives. Thank her so much. I thank you so much, Mom. You did a great job.
You did. You did. And thank you for encouraging. Hopefully your message is going to, I say hopefully, it will encourage many parents out there. Amen. Who are kind of lost. Okay. And we want them to call us so that we can connect them to some resources. Okay. So we won't have to deal with them when they're 25, 30 years old, and many of them taking a rifle and going out and not only wanting to die themselves, but to kill other people. There's something going on with the loss of hope there.
Right.
Yeah. So Tony, I've got the video up, and I think that Angelica has shared with me where I'm host. Am I host now, Angelica?
Yes, you should be.
Okay. And so I'm going to share screen, and you tell me when I should start playing this, Tony, because I don't want to interrupt what you're doing. So you were going to play something on the horn, and then we're going to just run this in the background. Well,
I think we can do one or the other, because I won't be in the same key. Run.
No. Oh, I don't mean playing along with it. Not in any way. Okay. No. Just to. I'm going to pause it right here. And so yeah. So don't worry. It's just showing in the background, and there's no noise. Okay. So you go ahead and do what you were going to do to close us out. And thank you so much, all of you, for joining the Differently Able Network today. This has been a real pleasure, real pleasure. Great program. And it's going to go places. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Captain Magno. Thank you all for joining. And those on the phone, I'm sorry I could not get to everybody. Thank you.
Good show. Okay.
Take it away. Chaplain Magno, thank you. You know, Chaplain Magno comes to us and says, I'm not a professional trumpet player. I said, I don't want you to be a professional trumpet player. I just want you to tell people that how playing the trumpet helps reduce your stress. especially when your
Yeah.
sugar gets crazy, you know, when that
Yeah.
low depressive sugar, right?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
And
I
that's
love it.
why we have the differently abled artists and musicians. Okay. So thank you all for joining us, and I will see you. We are doing one more program at the end of June, the last Sunday of June, and then we will be down for July and August with our friends at Interfaith. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
welcome.
you. It was good to be back. Thank you.
Thank you. Rose.
Amen to that.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Good show.
Now, why can't I get that? Now I can't get any sound.
There you
Well,
go.
that's okay. Yeah, we see that beautiful Diana Ross. Some of these people are gone now. But you know, why don't we have songs like that anymore? It's really weird,
Mhm.
you know.
That was really an extraordinary song. It really sort
Oh,
of changed the
wow.
world.
It's extraordinary in the sense that all of the people that came on board to do this, it was just
Yeah.
unreal, you know.
Willie.
Willie
Here's old
May.
Willie.
So
Willie-
young.
Willie Nelson.
Willie Nelson,
Oh.
yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, that's Al Jarreau, isn't it? You know, I
Al
didn't know that
Jarreau.
was Al Jarreau. I just
Yeah,
see that
Al
now.
Jarreau. Mhm.
He's passed on, I believe. Oh, and that's one of my guys.
The boss.
Bruce
The boss.
I love the way he moves. Well, let's okay.
Great.
Oh,
Great.
yeah, that's really something.
Get
So
a
let's
chance. Go
start
online and
with-
listen to this. It's worth listening to.
Yeah. And you know, if you listen to the words on it, it fits right into you know, making a better day and such positive and uplifting things that they say in this song. It's just and you know, Michael Jackson just in itself, you know, the love that he had for people, just unreal. Cindy, look at Cyndi Lauper there.
Mm,
Oh my goodness.
that's great.
Who is that? Who is that one?
I can't.
Oh, I
I
know
don't
her
even know.
too. Ah. Oh, look at that crowd. Wouldn't that be something if we could get them to come to the Differently Abled Network and sing?
It'd be wonderful.
I'm not
Okay,
giving
shut
up
up.
on that. There's Dion
It
and
would be
Lionel.
particularly difficult to get some of them to come
Yeah?
because they're
Oh
not here
yeah,
anymore.
okay. I know what you're gonna say, Lori. Don't you start. I know, Lori. We gotta
You can
them
get
up. I
her
know.
here. We'd be thrilled. Yeah.
Oh gosh. Lot of love, lot of love. Wow.
There's a version of this done from Broadway performers also that's really remarkable. It's newer, but
Mhm.
it's really great. Some of the top Broadway performers got together and did
Wow.
a version of this.
Well, thank you all. I'm gonna cut it now, and thank you all for being here today. Okay, I'll send you a
Thank
copy
you,
of this. I'm
Danita.
trying to upload the first one that we did, so we have part 1 and part 2 together. Okay, but I think we did a pretty good job on helping people to understand more about God. You know, hopefully encouraging them to look more inside. You know, and if we get I wish we could have got Reverend Julianne. But
Did
she
you
probably
see her
had
notes, Danita?
Uh-huh.
Did you see that she left a note in chat that she got unexpected company?
Okay.
That's why she
Okay.
left.
No,
Yeah.
I didn't see that, but thank you for letting me know. Okay. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye now.
Okay, bye-bye, everybody. Have a great day.
I'm gonna stop